As I, Captain Steve, and I'm reviewing Star Wars Squadrons on PS4. Heck yes. So when I saw that this was multiplayer and also had VR, I got very excited because I had played the VR mode on Star Wars Battlefront 2, where you can actually use the Move controllers. Now I'm going to jump straight to the crux of this. It's not the same. I don't think it's the same people that actually made that little experience on Star Wars Battlefront, because you can't even use your Move controllers on VR. No, you're stuck to using a joypad. So that breaks half the immersion already. Now the story mode itself, though, is where I started off to hone my skills. You can see here that I've gone through all the missions. Before you complete all the missions, though, it tells you what medals you're missing. After you've completed the full story, it doesn't. So you have no idea what you're freaking doing. Quick match is not a quick match. When you actually choose a quick match, you're there for ages. I sped this footage up by ×8, but it takes you about 6 minutes to get in. You've got like 2 minutes like loading screen, then 2 minutes cooldown because some moron won't select their loadout quick enough, and then another loading screen, and then you finally get into the quick match. And the quick match is probably over quicker then you have to wait in the frickin' lobby and do all of that shenanigans. But it is quite nice when they all fly in and stuff, and you get to see your sort of like little ships and things. But this is the only time that you get to see your customization on the ships, and it kind of shows your ship at the front, so no one else is going to see how swanky your loadout is. And when you actually complete it and you see all the fighters standing in a line again, the cosmetics make very little difference. And yes, you can have a hologram inside of your ship cockpit and a little tassel-y thing hanging down and bobbleheads and stuff, but why? You know, it doesn't really do too much. It might look a bit pretty. But yeah, anyway, this is the actual dogfight mode that I'm in at the moment, and this is my favourite of the multiplayer type setup. So you've got dogfight, or you've got freighter sort of missions where you have to take on big fleet battles. But this is my favourite one. So here we go, I'm chasing people down and shooting the heck out of them, which is lovely. And you get missile locks, you fire your missiles, there is that sort of sense of urgency. You can throw a load of flak out the back end of yourself to sort of ward off missiles and things. I would say that when you crash into things in this, it does a heck of a lot more damage than it does in story mode. So a little bit of a nod there, just be a bit careful. And if you have got your engines fully engaged, you have to turn them off before you turn, or else you slam into rocks, like just happened to me. Yeah, so this was my very first time in playing multiplayer. I've played a lot more since, and I've got a bit better at it, but I thought I'll show you some of my noob sort of footage to give you an idea of just what you're going into. Because when you first go into this, I mean, I was following my radar there. You can see all the white and red dots on the radar are in front of me, the way that I'm going. Now, it says turn around, but it doesn't tell you which way is the right way. It'd be nice if it turned green or red to indicate whether you're going the correct direction or the wrong direction. But it just stays red the whole time, so I didn't know which way I was freaking going. But there you go, kaboom, I'm deaded, and deaded. In fact, it did turn white just as I was turning there, so maybe I did finally get to the right direction. But it would help, wouldn't it, if it maybe it changed different colours, so red, amber, green, so you know which way you're freaking going. I don't know, that big black arrow, I don't know whether it's telling me which way I'm facing or which way I need to face, for example. But anyway, yeah, I died twice in that one. I killed myself by going the wrong direction, or I slammed into a rock. If I didn't do that, we may have won that battle. Yeah, Captain Steve is on the winning team. Yeah, never. That just doesn't happen. It's probably because of me that we frickin' lost, like I pointed out. But I do like this level up screen. And this reminds me a bit of when I used to go Zap Attacks and Quasar and Photon and stuff. And you get the scorecard at the end. I really like that, even though it makes me look like a complete tool. But as like I said, that was my first time in there. I've got a bit better. Not overly, I must admit. I'm not that great. I'm usually mid-table. You know, the customization, I've already pointed out, you don't really get to see your customizations that you're doing, and there's very few that you can do to your head. And these ones here, you can see here that they cost like what, 1,200. So what, I'd have to do like 6 matches or something to get even close to unlocking one of these swanky heads. Yep, but then a lot of people are rocking around in the same sort of head or same sort of setup, and you're going to see the same sort of customizations. There's not a lot to go for really, and some of these helmets just look terrible. They look like you got a washing machine on your head. And yeah, so some of them I don't think anyone's going to be walking around in, and a lot of people are going to be having the same sort of helmets in the end, I think, because let's face it, there's maybe a handful of good ones. But yeah, the ships, there's quite a lot of customization to have there. You can get some pretty gnarly paint jobs on them. I mean, you can have like yellow stripes on them. You can even make them look very Tron-like. You can get things for your dash and stuff like little Ewoks that hang down, or a little a hologram of the guy that sits next to Jabba, that little sort of like monkey lizard thing. Yeah, you can have all sorts in there, but it's only going to be really you that sees these customizations when you're in your hangars, really. Or maybe as you're flying into a mission, people might say, oh, he's got the Tron colour. Oh, he's got the, yeah. They're not going to be overly bothered. So it doesn't feel like these unlocks are really worth having because it's not really showy. There's daily missions and challenges which would give you a little bit more of this honor point system which you need for most of the swanky stuff that you want to unlock, and yet you can kind of keep a track of how you're doing with that and an understanding of what you need to do. But it does feel very sort of pushy in a roundabout way to play in a certain way. I mean, I hate doing the fleet battles, and there's no way I'd want to do those if they pop up on my weekly score sheet, because the fleet battles, here they are here. I mean, it looks freaking ace. You'd think it'd be ace, a whole squadron taking on a fleet. It is, I suppose, if you've got friends on open mics and you're all attacking at once and you can have a bit of synergy. But when you're playing either, like I'm right here, against AIs or whatever, it's like a really long-winded game of tug or war. You've got to balance that line at the top. You've got to get your line all the way over before you can start attacking the capital ships. And then the slightest mistake and the bar can go completely the seesaw in the other direction, and you end up playing this little game of tug of war which can go on for like a whole freaking day. Well, it won't. I mean, there's a timer of like half an hour, I think, on this one. But there needs to be, because it is not good. There's a long freaking grind on this one. If you fire this up, it's not something you can just turn on your break at work or something, or do quick match. It's definitely not a quick match. Dogfight is a lot more fun and it's over a lot quicker. But then getting into the dogfight can take you longer than actually having the dogfight. So yeah, the multiplayer aspect, although I got this game for the multiplayer, I'm going to tell you right now, I enjoyed the story mode more than the multiplayer. So if you're buying this strictly for multiplayer, if you haven't got 5 regular friends and you're not a complete Star Wars geek, I would leave this game well alone. And then even on the actual story mode, I found I had to go into the audio options and turn my music off. Because I'm a content creator and a streamer, as soon as I put this up onto YouTube, when I got to level 5, I think it was, I got a copyright sort of notification. It wasn't a full-on strike, it's not going to affect my channel or anything, but all my analytics are going to go to the copyright owner, SME Musics or something. So it would be nice if there was an option in there for safe streaming. I mean, there's an option for colorblind mode. I'm really liking the actual cutscenes and things, but once the music's off, it's not all that great. I like the interactions with the NPCs, but some of those interactions feels like there should have been some sort of multi-choice or something, because they sort of pause, and you're just like, oh, what am I supposed to say something? And then it continues on. There's weird, uncomfortable pauses and things, but the voice acting's not too bad. I like the choice of ships. I like the different types of loadouts and making the ship feel a little bit more your own and homing it to the mission that you're doing at hand, which is quite cool. The actual takeoff cutscenes, they are the same pretty much over and over, depending on what ship you've got, obviously. And then these bits when you're actually flying out are always spectacular. I really like those. And the actual cutscenes in the story is actually engrossing, and it actually captivates you a little. I mean, there's some of the story where you think, okay, alright, well, this is dragging on a bit now. I mean, that whole Starhawk thing, I think I must have destroyed that freaking Starhawk like 3 or 4 times, and it said, yeah, you've destroyed the Starhawk. No, it's still freaking there. It's still, yeah. So yeah, Star Wars Squadrons, my overall opinion of this is it's not really a high 90s sort of game at all. I'm going to be, if I had to score this out of 100, I would place it around about a 76%. It falls short in so many ways, but there's so many ways that EA games could improve this just by tweaking a few things. It's like the whole matchmaking stuff. After you finish doing a matchmaking or multiplayer session, you should have the option to remain in it, so you can just go straight into the next battle, rather than being kicked out to the main title screen and having to go all the way back through and have that whole sort of 6 minutes or 8 minutes sort of wait to get back into playing, because it really does kill the ability to just have a really good experience and to carry on battling with those that you formed a crew with and get to know each other and stuff. Yeah, so there should be a continuation sort of option there, but there just isn't. Throws you back out to the title screen. And the actual story mode is really good. It's quite engrossing, but if you want to replay those missions to get the medals, you've got to sit through all the different cutscenes, and yes, you can skip them, but there's a long delay in between each, and even the tutorial bits that pop up at the sides, they still pop up at the sides, and then after you've completed the story, you can't even see what medals you need to get, so it makes it very difficult. Maybe you just have to hit replay. But yeah, 76, and I'm being generous. Being generous with that 76. Heck yes. Well, thank you very much for watching this video, and if you like what you see, please hit a like or a subscribe. And yeah, or you can support my channel through Patreon. Here are all my Patreon backers. Thanking you, Patreon. And I also have YouTube membership. If you want to sign over to YouTube membership, check out my video links in my video description. I also have merch. Grab yourself a fine and dandy pair of socks, a mug or a t-shirt over my merch store. Or I also have Atlas cards that I sometimes have on my eBay store. Check out my video description. So that is the end. Thank you for watching, and please hit a join or a subscribe, or just hit one of these tiles on this screen that you see here now. Stay with Captain Steve a bit longer.